everybody. This is Mandy with Liberty Warriors News, and we are in Riggins, Idaho, and we have found one of the lovely business owners of Riggins, and we are here to ask him some questions. Can you tell him what your name is?
My name is Rob Pottenger. I own Idaho's Big River Outfitters, which is a jet boat fishing company on the Salmon River.
Right on. Any other businesses?
I do have a small trucking business too.
All right. So what we're wanting to know, and that's why we're here and asking people questions, is how has what's going on in the world with the sickness, how has that affected you and your business and your livelihood? We want to know those things. Have they affected you? If they have, if they haven't?
Well, honestly, here in Riggins, I haven't changed anything the way I live. And if I didn't watch the news and see all the crap going on, I wouldn't even know that anything was different. As you can see, I got a bunch of my family over here, and I haven't changed anything of what I do. I've always been a healthy person. Wash my hands and stuff, but I don't wear a mask. I live
So
life.
that's a thing you normally do? It's not a new thing?
No, it's not.
That's not something new that just came about, that we wash hands?
I'm
and
a
keep
fairly
ourselves
clean
cleanly?
person, even though I'm a fishing guide. But yes,
Bless your heart.
I really haven't changed anything. And we just been living life here, and if I didn't hear about it all on the news, I really wouldn't even know that it was going on.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? So the community itself really hasn't.
Not really. I mean, here in Riggins, we've tried to just live life and not worry about it. And I have a lot of people that come fishing with me, and they say they just love being here because you can go to the restaurant. I mean, even this winter, you can go to the restaurant and eat. You can hang out, have a beer at the bar.
Right.
You can get on the boat and fish.
Yeah, you don't have to wear diapers.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that the sickness was real, but I don't think it was any different than any other sicknesses that have gone around every year. I haven't noticed anything different. As far as my business has been good. What I saw last year during the shutdown was honestly a lot of people wanted to come fishing with me because their big vacations going overseas and going to other countries or going to Hawaii or whatnot, they all got canceled.
Right.
And so they got their money back, so they were looking for stuff locally to do.
Oh, they got their money back? I didn't get mine back.
Well, some of them did, you know, where they had
didn't.
vacations planned and stuff. And what I saw was, I was worried about it too, because I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I might be really in trouble with this deal.
Right.
And for me, we found a lot of people from the Boise area and stuff figured out that they could come to Riggins, Idaho and go fishing.
Right.
And so that's what they were doing. And I had a lot of people. I did decent, you know. We had a lot of trips, and I had a lot of people that just said, my gosh, you know, we want to do something, so we're coming up, we're going camping, we're going to go fishing, we're going to do this stuff. And
so your community functioned normally?
Our community,
even with the
here,
shutdown and everything?
Yeah. For a short time, what we did see, you know, a year and a half ago in March and stuff, when the shutdowns happened, a lot of people fled to Riggins. I saw more people hanging out on the beaches in Riggins than I'd ever seen in my life. I think it's because everything in Valley County and down in Boise was shut down.
Right.
So we saw I saw more people than I've ever seen in March camped on the beaches and stuff.
Right.
And I was taking 8, 9, 10 people a day, 4 or 5 days a week fishing.
That's amazing.
Through the whole thing. So I know I was around people that
So were
had
people
it.
happy? Were people happy
Yeah.
and smiling
Yeah.
and relaxed and joyful to be in a beautiful community among others without wearing diapers, without all the stresses, and they could just
That's
be
one of the
human beings?
One of the biggest things I've heard is in the last year and a half that this whole deal's been going on is people come to Riggins and they tell me, they're like, it's just awesome here because we can go in the grocery store without a mask. Nobody's doing anything different. We can get on your boat and go fishing.
Right.
You know, and I took, like I said, I've been around hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and
from all over.
Yeah, and I think I might have caught the sickness. I had a real nasty cold in January before we had heard about it. But it was nothing.
lot of people
It was
did.
nothing any different than something and I'm not a person that gets sick very often.
Right.
But I had a real nasty cold. I actually went out to Oklahoma hunting with some really good friends of mine from Oklahoma, and we had it out there, and it was a nasty cold. And I still went hunting every day. I just powered through it, and I was
Right.
real sick for a week. Came back, and quite honestly, I haven't been sick since.
I got a question for you, Rob.
Yes, sir.
How were your children affected here in Riggins? Mainly, like the schools,
Well-
and the diaper wearing. How were you guys affected here in Riggins for that?
Here's what's funny is my daughter, when this all came about and they doing all the shutdowns and stuff, my daughter was 18-year-old senior in high school, and she honestly was really, really bummed because her senior year got shut down. When
Yep.
they shut the schools down, and we all think back to school and it was fun to miss a day or two, but I'll tell you what, the local kids here, they were really upset. My daughter was upset over the whole deal.
So they didn't get a graduation.
Well, we did. We did end up having a graduation at Riggins. We had it outdoors on the football field. They allowed 10 people per table, family, and then they let everybody else come up. Like I said, we've rolled through this stuff in Riggins about it probably as normal as anybody in the country has.
Yeah.
But still, and I understand our principal, our superintendent, they're getting hammered by all this stuff. They have to,
Yeah,
they can't
complain,
just.
right.
But what sucked is they shut school down, and my daughter, she was depressed. But I'll tell you what, her and her friends, they refused to sit at home and hide. They honestly, they got shut down and were doing school online, and guess what they were doing? They were getting together 3 or 4 days a week and going camping. And guess what? None of them got sick. None of them died. None of them were walking around, dragging their leg around hurt, It was no different. But I will say, my daughter's a great student. She's a 4.0 salutatorian at Riggins. She played for 2 state champions. Just a great
Well, congratulations.
kid.
That's amazing. Right on.
She's such a good girl. And she was honestly, her and her friends were really bummed that they lost out on the last few months of their senior year.
Right.
But I'll tell you
A lot of kids were.
they got together and they went camping and did stuff together, and I told them, I said, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you to sit at home and hide.
Yep.
You
Bless
know?
your heart.
So
Thank you very much.
We're Americans, and I'll tell you what, I think people, I understand it's real. The sickness is real. There's a sickness going around, but I don't think it's any different than a bad flu season or a bad this or that. That nasty cold I had a year and a half ago, which might have been the sickness, I've had it. It's something I get about every 7 or 8 years, and I'm a healthy guy that hardly ever gets sick, but I did get it, and I was pretty sick, but I powered through it.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I think it made my immune system better because I haven't had one sick day in a year and a half since then.
Right on.
And I think I'm a guy that's never taken a flu shot. It's just me. It's a
Right.
personal choice. If you want to go take these shots or do whatever, if you want to wear a mask, that's your choice, but I'm not going to do it. And I'll tell you what, I grew up on a ranch here in this country. My dad had a ranch, my grandpa had a ranch. I grew up eating dirt and rocks and cow crap and, playing in the cows and the horses. And I think people in this country have gotten so scared, and they've taken all these shots and scared of everything and taken all this stuff. And I think it actually knocks your immune system down.
Yeah.
Because I'm 48 years old and I'm in good shape and I don't get sick.
Something about nature.
It's
There's
something
something
about
about
nature.
being in nature.
Yep. I live
that
healthy and I
cleanses your
just
soul
don't
and
worry about it.
You're darn right.
So I got one final question
Yes,
for
sir.
you, Rob, and it's a 2-part question, and then I would sure like for you to give yourself a plug for your business on this channel. The question is, what are your thoughts on the 2020 election, and what are your thoughts on who's in the White House now and what's going on? Does it make sense to you?
Well, I was a Trump supporter. I'll tell you what, the biggest thing for me is I like freedom. and I like low regulations, lower taxes. And I own Idaho's Big River Outfitters, which is a jet boat fishing company here in Riggins, Idaho. We do jet boat trips and fishing trips and jetbacks, and we haul people around and we do tours and stuff. And I also own a small trucking company, and no matter what side you're on, I don't care, whatever. But I just like lower regulations, I like lower taxes, and I like the government to leave me alone. And what I can say is through the Trump years, I don't care if you don't like him, he's a mean guy, tweets stuff that people don't, I don't care about that stuff. What I can tell you is I've been self-employed since I was 20 years old, and I'm 48. And I had probably the best 4 years I ever had through the Trump years. I had a lot of fishing trips, I had a lot of lumber to haul, and after all that terrible high fuel prices that we had even under George Bush, who's a Republican, and I'm not a huge fan of him, you know, and Obama, we had terrible fuel prices and regulations. Obama hit us hard with the emissions. He made me put emissions on my new boat, which cost me a bunch more money. My new truck has all this emissions crap on it. It's $15,000, $20,000 worth of emissions crap. Plus I have to put DEF and all that crap, and I have constant problems with it. Trump come in, cut some taxes for us. Also cut some regulations, helped me out with the e-log deal. And the fuel was $2 a gallon instead of $4 a gallon. And here's what I'll tell anybody. I won't blame January on.
All your fucking asses.
And there you go. We'll bleep that. We're good.
I won't blame January on President Biden. But I'll tell you what, the month of February, I kept track of it. And my boat business and my trucking business, it cost me $4,200 just in fuel in 1 month. And I'm a small guy. I have a couple trucks and a couple boats. I'm not a big operator. That's a huge hit. February was about $6,000 in lost in just fuel. That's a problem for me, you know. And a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you're just helping these big businesses." Well, guess what? I'm a tiny little business owner, and capital gains affects me. You know, all these business taxes affects little guys like me too.
Right.
You know, and right now they're talking about running capital gains back up to I think 38%, and that affects little guys like me. If I sell a piece of equipment, you know, it makes a huge difference. But I would say so far this year, the worst thing that's hit me, number one, is the fuel. The fuel's killing me. I'm losing $5,000 or $6,000 a month right now, which it just makes it to where I barely scrape by.
In 100 days.
Yeah.
A little over.
Yeah. And another thing is I never missed a day in 4 years of Trump. This is just straight up truth. This is facts. I never missed 1 day of trucking. Never ran out of loads. And in February, March, and this last month, I don't know what's going on, but the prices have dropped, and we've had some weeks where we sat. So I don't like that. So that's just a straight up, you know, that's a straight up fact. It's not Republican or Democrat, and like I said, you know, George Bush was a Republican. I am a Republican, but I don't even care. What I want is to be left alone. I want cheap fuel, and I want a good economy, you know, and I want lower regulations.
So when we close the Keystone Pipeline and we put restrictions back on all the drilling that we do here in America,
yes, sir.
And we start buying overseas again, that affects the little guy.
It affects me. I'm a small guy. I have 2 trucks, me and another guy, and I have 2 boats. I'm a tiny little guy. I drive, this is my newest pickup, and it's a 1997. I'm not a rich guy. I make a decent living, but I work hard. I work 6 or 7 days a week, and what I'm telling you is when you pull the supply back and now things are getting going, the demand's going up, and now fuel has went up $1, $1.25 a gallon, and I go through 200 gallons a day, added up.
Yep.
It just costs me $200 or $300 a day. And what it ends up doing is through the 4 years of Trump, whether you like him or not, I was making decent money. And what I am doing right now is working really, really hard, 6 or 7 days a week, and just barely getting by.
Wow.
That's just it is what it is. It is what it is.
That's truth, and that's stuff that needs to be said.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
And that's
people
what we're
need to
here
hear.
for,
Yep.
is we're here to get the message out.
Yep.
So, Rob, I appreciate your time.
You
I don't
bet.
want to keep going on, but if there are people either here in Idaho or across the country who do want to get away and they like the sound of Riggins to come fishing with you,
Yes, sir.
how can they get a hold of you?
Idaho's Big River Outfitters. You can look me up on Facebook. You can look up my website. That's the best way to get a hold of me. We put on a good show. We do jet boat fishing trips. We fish for salmon, sturgeon, steelhead. We do jet boat tours, and Riggins is a great place. There's other outfitters that are awesome to fish with. We have a ton of great places to stay, and as you can see, Riggins is running as normal. You know, we're just living life, and we're having,
So what's hot right now on your fishing trips?
Well, right now we just got done with steelhead at the end of March, and right now I'm doing sturgeon trips. We're kind of starting into our sturgeon. Hopefully we'll have a decent salmon run like the end of May, early June, but I'll be sturgeon, bass, and trout fishing all summer.
All right.
And doing jet boat tours, and come on out, we'd love to have you.
All right.
Well, I will definitely be bringing my husband up to see you,
bet.
Rob.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
everybody. Peace.
Yep.